Hi and welcome to this week's First Days with Johanna. I'm Johanna. We are here in my dyeing studio in the south of Sweden. This is the place where I dye yarn, I prepare some knitting patterns for you, and I record this YouTube video together with some other videos that I have for my online workshops and courses and other things. So today is not the first day of SKeW Sock Program, but the second day of SKeW Sock Program. And SKeW Sock Program is a knit-along where we focus on socks during the summer. You get to set your own goals and state them in our Facebook group in the posts that I've posted in there. State your goals in the comments, and later on we will be having some prizes and some mini events and all of the things, so make sure to state your goals to be eligible to win prizes. And you find the link to the Facebook group in the comment or in the description below. So go and join in there to find out more about SKeW Sock Program. Now, I can finally show you the sock that I've been test knitting for Yarnesty. You've been seeing this sock bag for so long, and finally I can show you. And it's right here. I'm late as always, so I have one sock finished and the other one is ready to start to heal. So I'm not doing too great on it, but in my defense, I had another sock to mend last week that had some kind of priority. This is the Sandvåg socks by Yarnesty. You will find them only over at Nordic Knitting Society, and they are released yesterday, June 1st. This is also a cable pattern from Anna, and there are some cables going down that resembles the small waves that you can see in sand on like the sea floor. All these slow waves that are formed. That was at least her inspiration when she designed this pattern. It's really fun to knit. The pattern is easy to memorize, and yeah, the heel actually have the gusset underneath, so you get this cool gusset going on under the foot where you decrease down on either side. I'm terribly sorry, this is a sock for my husband and he have bigger feet than I have hands, so I don't know how to show you, maybe like that. So this is a cuff down construction. So you cast on and you knit down, you do the heel with the heel flap and gusset, and then the foot and the toe. The pattern, the shorted pattern, or it's both shorted and written out, that one can easily be switched to be knitted toe up, but the pattern as is cuff down. Yeah, I've been knitting on these for a couple of weeks and you've seen the bag before, right? And this was also one of my blue socks, and when I was on my blue spell I knitted everything blue. And here's the second one. I actually cast it on in a different color just because I liked the contrast that it gives, and it's not really a part of the pattern, so that's my own little twist on this. Here's the leg, and I'm ready to start the heel in like 4 more rounds or something. I was too tired yesterday to make it through to them, but that will be the goal for this evening. Then I will be on the heel and ready to go. These socks are knitted on 2.25mm SKeW needles, and I will say mine are 100 centimeter long. That is my preferred size for sock knitting. I really like the SKeW needles because they have this metal wire in the cable, so they won't curl up on you. It's nice and flexible and follows really good. So this is my second Sandvåg sock, and here's my first one completed. So just a couple more rounds and I'm ready to start to heel. And those socks are only available in Nordic Knitting Society, only in Swedish, and I will link everything below. Now for some other socks that I've been working on, because it's socks, that's the way it is. I've been working on my Yatriaga socks. I put on a couple of more rounds in it. This is actually like my backseat knitting at the moment. Not that I only knit in the backseat of a car, but like it's taking a little bit of backseat. It's not my priority. It's something that I pick up when I need something that I don't have to think about at all. So that's why it's only a couple of rounds. It's not making as much of progress at the moment. It will soon, I think. But for this instance, it's not. And this is knit out of SKeW number 2 in the Dive colorway. And yeah, some blues with greens in between. And I think it's actually a little bit lighter for most of the part. You can see I have 2 strands connected. The pattern is only for one color as written. But for some reason I had 2 hanks that were, one was a little bit darker and one was a little bit lighter compared to the rest of them and compared to the colorway. So I figured that mixing them together will give a pretty good description of what the colorway actually looks like. So this is SKeW number 2 in the Dive colorway. And I knit these my preferred way. Toe up on 2.25 SKeW needles, magic loop, 100 centimeters long. And that is the way I like to knit my socks. And you will see I have one more on the same needle size, the same needle length, the same needles. And that is the sock that you all saw last week that I actually finished then. I bound off one of the socks and I had just a small amount of toe casted on this sock for the second sock. Now I have made it through the entire toe and I've started to do some patterning going on here. This is a pattern that is being written up at the moment, so it will be ready for testing maybe next week. So a little bit more about that process will be in next week's video, and then I will have some place where you can submit if you want to test knit a sock pattern, and yeah, we will take that journey from there. But I really like the pattern. I really like how easy it is to memorize, and once you start, I find it easy enough to go with them. And as I said, I've been knitting this sock on fairs and shows, so it doesn't require 100% attention, at least not in my case, but you need a little bit of attention when you go through these stitches, and then it's plain sailing around. Yeah, that's all of the socks I've been knitting on. But if you add all of the knitting I've done the last week, then I think that managed to squeeze out an entire sock. And I haven't really talked about my goals for SKeW Sock Program because I wanted you all to start a little bit before I got in there and stated my goals. But I actually kind of want to knit 2 pairs of sock per month. That means that I will have 6 pairs end of August. And I'm a little bit nervous about saying this because I haven't been doing that lately. So I really need to step up my knitting game to make it there. But I cross my fingers and hope for the best. In Sweden we do like this, we hold our thumbs, and that is a difference. But I know English, you cross your fingers and hope for the best. When Swedes cross their fingers, they are lying. So yeah, feels kind of weird to cross my fingers and hope for the best. Because if you cross your fingers, then you are telling like a small lie or something just to get away with it. And if you cross your fingers, it doesn't really, yeah, you do that, so it won't be that harmful, I think. But yeah, cultural differences. So my sock goal, except for knitting 2 pairs of socks per month, will be that you will have 3 patterns available in English. And as I said, these one with the zigzag stitches going on here, I still don't know what I'm gonna name this sock, and I'm really open for name suggestions if you have anything. I will have that pattern ready for testing next week. And I have 2 other patterns that have been test knitted in Swedish, so I just need them to get a quick read through, and then they are ready to be published. And then that will make 3 patterns. So let's hope for the best. No, let's make sure that it will happen, that it will be these goals that we have set now for the SKeW Sock Program until end of August, that we will work through them, and that we will make sure to work for them. And I will post some reminders in the group and share you on, and everyone that have stated their goals in the comment thread in my post, I will make sure to tag you whenever I publish something to share you on, or post something new, or do some small challenges that will be in between. So make sure to state your goals in the comment thread to have this kind of extra share during the SKeW Sock Program. Now, I think that was about everything that I wanted to share about the SKeW Sock Program. Now, I've been promising you a new grafting technique video. So without further instructions at the moment, here is the Finchley graft technique. I just finished knitting a toe, and now I want to show you another grafting technique than the Kitchener stitch. This is called the Finchley grafting, and it starts with turning the sock or the item you want to graft inside out. So you do this with the reverse side facing you. The easiest way to do this when you have it on the needles, if you have magic loop, then just drag your item onto the cable and turn it inside out. It's a bit fiddly, but it will work. So here we go. We have the end of the yarn right here, and we have everything set up. We bring this back onto the needles and we attach the yarn to a needle so that we can graft. There we go. Now we are just ready to start grafting. The yarn is attached to this front stitch here, So what I will do is to go through that stitch and through the stitch on the back needle too. So I catch both of them and pull my yarn through. Pull it snug but too tight. If you can always adjust it later on, and it's easier to remove slack than to add it. So just pull it through, pull it a little bit tight, and then you're done with that piece. The yarn is now attached to the back stitch, so I drop that one off the needle. Next step is that you will go through again, but this time the needle will face you instead of going away from you. So we go through that back stitch and through the stitch on the front needle. So I've gone through both of these two stitches and pull through the yarn. Now the yarn is attached to the front stitch, so drop that one off the needle. And then go front stitch and back stitch with the needle pointing away from you. Dropping off the stitch on the back needle. Oh my gosh. Easier said than done. Like that, and then going back again through the back stitch and through the front stitch. And this is everything that you do back and forth until you finished off all your stitches. So for the last stitch, you go through both of them from the front towards the back, and then you drop off both the stitches, and then you're done with using the Finchley graft. The yarn is already in the reverse side, so it's easy to just weave in the end. And if you want to check your tension before you do so, then flip your sock and check out how it looks from the other side. And I think this looks just as good as the Kitchener stitch would do. So another way to graft sock toes, afterthought heels, anything you will need to graft, mitten tops, anything. So Finchley graft. The Finchley graft is something that you can use instead of the Kitchener stitch. So if you find Kitchener stitch a little bit fiddly, that you have to go back and watch the video over and over and over again when you try to do this kind of grafting, then try out Finchley. Oh, the biggest difference is that you do it inside out. So make sure you have the outside facing towards you, or the wrong side facing towards you. The inside, not the outside, the inside or the wrong side facing towards you. Then you just go back and forth. There is no remembering about how to pick up the stitches, you just go through them, and that is easier, I will say. So give it a try, watch it a few times. I will make sure to add a shorter, or I will make sure to timestamp it below so you can go back to the beginning of the instruction video very easily. A few words about what I'm wearing today. This small shawl is called Med hjärtat because the cables actually make kind of a small heart over here. So this is a garter knit scarf with a cable down the center. You start down here at the tip and go back and forth until you run out of yarn, and then you bind off. So this is knit out of one skein of SKeW number 4, and you will find the pattern over at Ravelry or in the SKeW 2020 collection. At the moment only in Swedish. It's being translated, but everything is taking a little bit of time with the translations. So this is perfect if you want to splurge on one hank of SKeW number 4 and knit a small shawl. This shawl will also be available in kits from ABS Creative. I will link her web shop down below. Make sure to check out her web shop and all the yarn she has, and there will be some kits for this specific small shawl in her shop. So here we have the shawl. It's pretty long, easy to wrap around you, and it has this cable running down the middle. Cable and lace motif. I've knitted this shawl in Bagavit, but it looks good in almost any color. I will finish off by showing you a small piece of my garden, because knitting isn't the only thing that I do. I do a lot of gardening, I do a lot of baking, I do a lot of different things around the house, and I thought that I want to bring in a little bit about that piece too. So now you will see a small piece of my garden that had been very neglected during the spring, and now I'm eager to start working on my garden, because I know we're running late at the moment, so we need to get those seeds into the ground and our tomatoes into some bigger pots. Slow and steady will win the race, right? So in the springtime, I don't only knit spring, summer and fall. I also have a garden that I spend a lot of time in, and it's looking kind of neglected this year because it's been a lot of sickness during the spring. So I will try to show you some things that I'm actually proud of that we have in the garden, even if there is a lot. It looks more like I'm growing dandelions than something else, but I'm not. And I will try to show you a few things that I have. So over here I actually have a peony that is magnificent at the moment. It's looking like it's the only flower it's gonna get this year, so you have to have a look at it. It looks a little bit sad after all the rain that was yesterday, but yeah, check this out here. Paired in with all grass and all of the dandelions, we have this huge peony that is in full bloom at the moment. And oh look, can you see the small one here? I have to look up what that is called in... And we have one more here. Oh, they're so pretty. Here I have something that is soon ready to be harvested. It's all of our garlics. I think we went a little bit overboard this year with a little bit too many, but they are looking healthy, most of them, and it will be a good crop later on. We actually have garlic so that we are self-sufficient around the year, and we're not really even close to finishing off last year's crop, so this one will last us for the entire year. And you can actually harvest garlic when it's fresh. It won't have the cloves that it has when it's fully grown, but you can eat it fresh, and you can even eat the leaves if you want. I mix the stalks and the leaves together with salt and dry it up and make a garlic salt. And if I stand up from here, we have the potatoes. We have some red onions, some yellow onions, and some more potatoes. And over there is a very, very sad state that I haven't even gotten to. So it will be for this week that we will get some more seeds in the ground and can do something more with that. That was some footage of my garden, and I hope you like it. And if you do, please let me know, and I will end this episode here. Happy knitting! Bye!